All right. So make sure you put your phones away for during the lesson, right? No distractions, no headphones. Just focus, okay? Members of a Ukrainian church, they hold a fundraiser, and they usually charge $5 for a plate of pierogies, okay? They observe that at this price, they will be able to sell 115. So at $5, you sell 110 plates. What was I saying, 115? 110 I meant to say. So remember, if I give you the headings, then you should go buy them, okay? So plates, you sell 110 when the price is $5. So I start you off with one. And then the question will usually follow it up with, when something happens to the price, either up or down, something will happen to the number of items, or plates in this case. So for every 50-cent increase, right? So if you add 50 cents to this, obviously it gets 5 to 550, you will sell 8 fewer plates. So we got to go minus 8 here, minus 8. So that's 102. And even if you're off by a little bit, the whole thing is thrown off if you're off here. So be careful, okay? Another 50-cent increase, right? So plus 0.5, that gets you to $6. You lose another additional 8 plates at that point. So that's 94 plates, okay? So could you continue this? Could you add more rows to this? Absolutely. But we only need 3. And then quadratic regression knows the pattern. But if you only give it 2, it's not going to be able to do it. It's going to give you an error. It says I need more information. Then the profit part, you just simply multiply it, right? And I think I'm going to give you the shortcut to, or a nice tool to use in this case. So that's 561. This is 94 times 6, which is 564. Okay? So it says, determine the quadratic equation relating the price and the profit, okay? So you want the price in L1. I want you to show me that on the table. I want this in L2, okay? Please do not put L1 and L2. Don't put these into L1 and L2 because you're going to get a linear equation that's not going to work for you. So please enter this with me just so we can get the window out of the way here. So we're going to go 550, 6. And here's where I want to show you. You just have to be careful because sometimes the answer that you see on the screen is rounded, but it's actually not rounded. So watch what I do. I go 110 times 5. Like I actually type in this multiplication into that cell and then hit enter, and it will automatically go 550, right? 102 times 5.5. That's 561. And then 94 times 6 is 564. So instead of having to do this here, you can just wait until you enter it into your calculator and then copy down the answers like that. So that's one trick. And so let's do the regression here. What do we do for this? I hope you know hopefully without looking at your study sheets. What I would suggest is you go y equals, clear whatever is in your y1 and y2, turn on plot 1 at that point, and then I go, what did I tell you to do next? I always forget your ways, because you don't have to follow that order necessarily, but you have to have plot 1 turned on if you want to use Zoom Standard. Stat, not to Zoom Standard, Zoom Stat. And it's going to zoom into the 3 points you've entered, okay? Now, let's come up with the equation. Stat, calculate, quadratic regression, second 1, comma, second 2, comma, alpha, trace. Too many buttons, right? I know. That is the equation that I get. So this is how you let me know you've done the work correctly. Stat, calc, quadrag. That's all you need to do in your work on a test, on an AC. And then you go y equals and just write it down. What's up with C being 0? Is that okay? Yes. Any of them can be 0 except for the leading coefficient in front of x squared. That cannot be 0. you made a mistake if that is the case. So there's your equation. Let's go ahead and graph. This one actually does look like a parabola, but sometimes this looks like a straight line. So please don't think it is a straight line. It is a parabola. We know it. We know looking at the equation. For the window, okay? Press window. I want to make sure I see the y and the x-axis before I continue doing anything. So window, what am I going to do for my x-min? What should I put in there? -5? John Mar, I'm so good at reading lips. Thank you. -5 or -2 or something negative, okay? -10. It works, right? And then go to y min, and I'm going to do the same. Because the numbers are big that I see in there, I usually go a little bit bigger as well. Because remember, you're going to be zoomed out, so it's going to be harder to see if you just go -2. Let's see what this looks like. Not bad. So now I have my y-axis and my x-axis. I need to see more here. I need to see it coming back down. So I'm going to go window, x max. What should we go with? Watch. This is how I'm going to teach you how to use a reference. We already see the vertex, right? At an x value of 6, right? You see the vertex at x max 6. So if you go double this, 12, technically you should see it coming back down. I'm going to go a little bit further than that. I'm just going to go 15. Sorry. Negative. This is what I meant to say. 15 there. Right? I went to x max 15, and now I see the whole curve. And maybe I should increase my y max just a little bit. I'm going to go to 600 there. And that is a good graph. Okay? So please don't just leave it there and then I ask you, find the maximum profit. And Mr. Dirksen, I got it, right? And you're only looking at these 3 dots. That's not going to be correct. It's going to find the maximum of what you see, but it's not going to be good enough. You got to see the whole parabola to accurately be able to figure out the vertex, okay? So I will make a note here. Should we go back to make that note? I think I'm going to ask you to go back a little bit, but that's so crowded there. I'm just going to stick with my plan on 56. Just make a big note here next to B. And then we're going to highlight the gajibas out of it, okay? Note. Adjust window after zoom stat. Okay? X min and X and Y min, okay, should be negative. X min, Y min should be negative. You choose. You choose whatever you want to do. And you should see the whole parabola. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to highlight that. And this is true for any graph, right? Like you don't want to just zoom into a stretch of it. You want to see the whole thing. Okay. Hey, you guys watch movies a lot probably. You don't want to just see the trailer. You want to see the movie. Got it? You want to see the movie. The movie is the whole thing. There we go. Sometimes I have good ideas. Okay. What price will yield the maximum profit? We can do that. Second trace max. So it's not asking for the maximum profit. It's asking for the price that will give me the maximum profit. But I'm going to go ahead and find the vertex right now. Second trace max. I go to the left of it. And there's a lot of stuff going on up there. Don't worry about it. We're going to find out exactly what that max is. So 5.94, 564.06. So I'm not too happy with this. because it's so close to a point that you already have. But, you know, we can be very exact, so we're going to go with this. So a price of $5.94 will yield maximum profit. Yield, give, produce, okay? Result in, it's all the same thing. Why don't you just use that, Mr. Erickson? I don't know, I just felt like yield today, okay? How many plates, this is interesting, how many plates are you expected to sell at the price up here? So remember, we are right now addressing price and profit. So for plates, all you do is you take the profit and you, in this case, divide it by the price. That's what we're gonna do every time. If you're asked for a variable that is not in our equation, we use this, okay? So plates will be 564.06. That's the profit that we're expecting, right, from up here, divided by 5.94. And let's go ahead and figure that out. 564.06 divided by 5.94. That's 94.9595 continued. We can't have that, so we're going to round to approximately 95 plates. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so that's how you do that. If it asked me for price or profit, I could just use my quadratic equation to figure that out, right? I could use my graph, but in this case it's plates. That's not part of my equation, so I have to use this. And where did I get this from, guys? Where am I getting this formula from? Knowing that plates times the price gives me the profit. Okay, this is the formula that I use to derive, to come up with this conclusion here. Okay, so I will, for E, I'm just going to give you the answer. If you did it already, it's basically 500 is somewhere here. This is the 500 mark. And so there's a price that you can charge on the cheap end. Okay, that is your, what is that, 394? And there's a price you can charge on the higher end, which is 794. So you can either charge a price of 394 or 794. Both of them will give you a profit of 500. Okay. You could figure out the plates that you would sell at this price and the plates that you would sell at that price. You would sell more plates here than here. Okay, that's one observation. I will also say, how did I do this? I went y2 is equal to 500, second, trace, intersect. Okay, intersection. That's how I did that. And there were more that you could use to practice. Okay, now we're going to skip to type 3.